Hi everybody, welcome to tonight's broadcast. This is a first for me. It is really weird. I'm sitting here talking to a screen, talking to myself. But after living with Clive for 25 years, I'm probably going to be quite good tonight talking to myself. But joking apart, thank you. I know there's a whole ton of you on today. And so welcome to you all. I'm just going to very briefly cover with you something that's very dear to me, very dear to my heart. It's one word that is essential if you want to grow your business, and that word is belief. We all tell people that they need belief. We sit a new distributor down and we say, you need belief. But if you think about it, belief doesn't just happen when you sign that paperwork. What you need to understand is that belief comes in three stages. Firstly, you have faith. You have to have faith. Faith is being able to see something before it actually becomes real in your life. And if you can establish faith in yourself and your business and your services fairly early on, then what that will do is that will lead to hope. And when we have hope and we start to have some success, we start thinking, this is going to happen. And then slowly but surely that belief kicks in. And when belief does kick in and it becomes rock solid, hard belief, then you are totally unshakable. For all of you tonight, especially the new people or the people that have only been in the business a few months, if you're trying to build an organisation, before you have any belief, when you're sitting down with a prospect, when you're sitting down with a potential customer, act as if you have it. Because what that will do is it will allow other people, the person that you're sitting down with, the prospect, or the potential customer, to have faith in you, to have hope in you, to have faith and feel comfortable with the company and the products, and make them feel that they're involved with the right person. And I'm very briefly going to cover a short story with you to make this clearer to you. 17 years ago, nearly to the day, Clive and I did a round trip of about 380 miles to a little converted pub in Henley-on-Thames. And this was the brand new head office of Telecom Plus. And I'll never forget walking in, and there were 6 staff, just 6 staff, and the managing director, Chris Lorrigan, he came out to greet us with a gentleman that you all know, Ed Lovebrook, and they took us into another office because this building had 2 offices, and they sat us down and they showed us this sort of marketing plan, and they explained to us that they were having these plastic devices made, and when a customer plugged it into their phone socket, they should save some money on their long distance call. That was it. And when we left that building that day, I remember we decided to join, but I can't say hand on heart that Clive and I had the absolute, utter, unshakable belief that it was going to work. But what we both had was we had faith. We had faith in ourselves, faith in this tiny little company and its product. And then what happened was, I'll never forget, 2 or 3 months later, we got our first cheque of £7. And when that came in, we didn't look at that cheque and think, my God, this is £7, this is dreadful. We thought, my God, this is £7, this is wonderful, it worked. And the hope grew because the following month, the cheque went up tenfold to £70. We were nearly, but not quite then, at the belief stage. And then something happened 7 months into the business. Chris Lorrigan, the managing director, approached Clive and I, and he told us that this young man, not much older than David, wanted to invest heavily in Telecom Plus. And we said, well, you know, we want to meet this young man. Can you get him up to Manchester? Can you book a room? And can we bring all our leaders with us? And Chris agreed, and he booked the Piccadilly Hotel. And so this young man got on a train and he came up to the Piccadilly Hotel. And in that room was Robin and Cal, and Stefan and Georgia, Dennis and Cindy Hammond, and Susan Mackenzie. There was Rod and Jackie Bowden, and obviously Clive and myself. And this, and Jackie and Chris Weir. And this young man told us of his vision and told us that with our help, he was going to take this company, which was sitting on about 4,000 or 5,000 customers, to customer numbers of 100, 200, 500,000 customers, and to 1 million and beyond. This young man told us, we were sitting on a share price of around about 22, that he was going to, with our help, take this company into the FTSE 250 and then into the FTSE 100. It was unbelievable. And when each one of us left that room that day, we all had his belief. And what I'm trying to say to you is, for all of those you who don't have belief, Clive and I and David and many of the leaders on this call, we have oodles of the stuff. So do what we did. Borrow the belief. And for those of you who haven't guessed, that young man's name was Charles Wiggoder. So that's it from me tonight. I'm going to bring Clive on now, who's got some very exciting stuff to share with you. And thanks for listening. And over to you, Clive.
Thank you, Diana. Isn't this fun? You know, the things that we do, unbelievable. Now, I'm out of focus. Oh no, here I am. Jolly good. Okay. I think Diana covered a very important part in the distributor's mindset of, you know, getting going in this business is having belief. And you may remember last week we went through several different scenarios and several different things. And I did set you a task. How do you get on? You know, how do you get on warming those old pals of yours up, the ones that you haven't been in contact with for ages? Did you do it? I'm just looking here to see on I've got this little column down here, and you people are writing in it, and I'm just intrigued to see how many of you actually got on the phone and started warming the list up. So now that we've warmed our old contacts up, this week we're going to start approaching lots of people, and that's the task for this week. Start approaching lots of people. Last broadcast we covered some scripts, so we don't need to go through that again, but I do think we need to recap on follow-up. You know, we've got the script where we've said to our warm list, yeah, that basically we've sent them a link, and they're going to watch it, and they have watched it. And last week we covered the fact that what to say when we followed up. If you remember, it was, let's pretend that you join this business. How much money would it, you know, just between you and me and off the record, how much money would it need to be to, I keep going in and out of focus. There we go. How much money would we need to make, you know, out of business, out of this business, part-time on a monthly basis to make it worth your while? And how many hours would you be prepared to put into this on a monthly basis, part-time, you know, to do that? And how many months would you prepare to work? So how many weeks, I should say, the number of hours, how many months you prepare to work to get to that target? And people are going to tell you whatever figure they're going to tell you. And then it's good to take it to the next stage. And the next stage is a presentation of some description. So basically, after you've defined the number of weeks, and then the income, the weeks, the hours of the week, the months, then of course it's taken to the next stage. So you end up saying something along the lines of, okay, well, I get that. And if you're serious about, you know, making that sort of money, would you be willing to take this conversation to the next stage? And they'll say yes. So, well, look, we're hosting, and I this part is going to be about inviting to a career opportunity presentation. So the next bit is then, okay, well, if you're serious about this, what we need to do is, I need to invite you to an invitation-only overview of our business. It's being held at such and such a hotel on such and such a night, and let's call it Tuesday at 8 o'clock. It's going to be Tuesday at 8 o'clock, and what I suggest is that I come along and pick you up. It's going to take us from your place. It's going to take us about 30 minutes, 35 minutes. We need to get there a bit early, get there for about 10 to 8, quarter to 8. So if I pick you up at, say, 7:15, would that be okay? And it's yes. Okay. So you pick them up. Now, of course, you've got them in the car. What on earth are you going to talk about? Well, I'm a great believer in third-party tools. And if you have an audio player of some description in your car, a cassette player, well, you don't have a cassette player nowadays, do you, unless you've got a really old bus. You're going to have some sort of MP3 player, CD player, that sort of thing. Just play anything that to do with our business. You know, you could play a Jim Rohn CD, or the Eric Worre introduction to GoPro, for example, would be a fine example of something to do. So, you know, you get to the venue, you walk out the car, you walk into the hotel, and you go straight to the meeting room. So once you're in the meeting room, okay, do not, you know, you've signed in, registered, all that jazz. Please don't sit at the back, okay? You need to take your guests to the front of the room, and preferably as near to or on the front row. Get them sitting in the middle of the row, or as near to it as you can. And you need to develop this culture within your organization. Now, if I was going to backtrack a little bit, if I may, to the point of that where, you know, you're arranging to pick them up in the car, you also need to sort of prep them a little bit to make it even more real. So in that conversation, you'd say something along the lines of, oh, by the way, Colin, Jasmine, whatever the person's name is, by the way, the dress code, it's smart casual. So, you know, I think smart casual is fine, but jeans and sneakers, you know, not too good. So smart casual. And I'll tell you what I'd like you to do, because people love having tasks assigned to them. I'll tell you what I'd like you to do. I'd just like you to think of some people that you know that you believe would be interested in making more money this year than they did last. And what I'd like you to do is I'd just like you to scribble their names on a piece of paper and bring it with you to this overview. It might be to your advantage. So I'll pick you up at 7:15. So car journey, something inspirational to listen to on the way there, get into the hotel, straight in the meeting room, register, front of the room, front seat if possible, in the middle of the row, great. So now we're sat down. Now, if you are a regular attender of your local presentation, your local career opportunity presentation, you'll know who the leaders are. You'll know them by sight, you've perhaps been introduced to them, you may know them by name. And they are used to a concept called mutual window dressing. And it works like this. Let's pretend you're sitting on the front row. And Stefan Longworth is walking by, okay? So you buttonhole Stefan and say, Steph, come and meet my guest tonight, Colin. Colin, Stefan, Colin. And Stefan knows what to do. The leaders know what to do, okay? They'll engage in conversation. You know, this now is round about 10 minutes to 8. The meeting's going to start at 8. So Stefan's going to have a brief conversation. It's small talk. It's, you know, hi, how are you? How do you know Clive? And have you had far to travel? Oh, you picked you up in the car. That's great. And what do you do? And oh, that's interesting. And how long have you been there? It's just small talk. It's nothing about the presentation. It's nothing about the opportunity. It's just small talk. And when Stefan's finished, he'll hand off to another person in the room who's walking by. He might say, Ella Worthington. Come and meet Clive's desk, Colin, Ella, Colin, and Ella will do pretty much the same sort of thing. She'll say, hi, you know, it's lovely to meet you. How long have you known Clive? And how did you get? Oh, he gave you a lift, and you know, all that sort of stuff. Number two, then Ella will hand off and say, Dennis, come. And, and Dennis will be introduced, and Colin, Dennis, and Dennis does the same thing, da-da-da-da-da-da. And then Dennis will hand off, and Dennis could hand off to, I don't know, Robin, could you come get, and so on and so forth. So by the time the presentation is about to start, okay, you'll know that your guest is feeling comfortable. And the guest is thinking, what a nice bunch of people. Because the nice bunch of people that they've been introduced to, now get this, have been interested in me, the prospect, rather than being interesting. And I think, oh, nice bunch of people. If I get going in this, I'll probably get some help. That's what they think. Now, the presentation starts. During the presentation, your prospect may be tempted at some point to ask a question of you. Okay? You mustn't answer it. Whatever you do, say shh. No. This is the best bit. Whatever happens, okay? So, and you also need to be aware of your own body language. I mean, it's quite possible, isn't it, that you might have seen the presentation a few times before. So you could be, really laid back, thinking, oh dear, another 10 minutes to go. And you've heard all the jokes before, so you're not laughing. And so consequently, your prospect sees your rather laid-back approach to this and mirrors you. They're not receiving the information. So what you need to do, you need to be full on. You need to be paying attention to the presenter, full on. Laugh at the jokes, even though you have heard them before, particularly if it's me. So laugh at the jokes, engage, okay, give a testimonial. Testimonials are important. If you're called upon to give a testimonial, please give your testimonial. I might say a little word about giving testimonials now, because it's appropriate to do so. Sometimes they're too long, and sometimes they are as boring as boring can be. So it needs to be sharp, it needs to be short, it needs to be snappy, it needs to be to the point. So the perfect testimonial would be, hi, my name's Clive Leach. My background is I used to be in the textile trade, and then I had a rush of blood ahead and became a wet fish merchant. I live in Sale, just down the road from here, and I've been in business for a while. It's been fantastic for me. It's changed my life because I now have 3 homes, 2 in the UK and 1 overseas in America. I've got some great motor cars. I've been able to do my passion. Now that's kind of my testimonial. You will have your own testimonial, but please don't make it boring. One of the things I dread is when somebody stands up and says, my name's so-and-so, I'm from such and such a place, my background is so-and-so, and I joined this business to top up the pension. Boring! And I'll tell you why it's boring. The people who tend to give that testimonial, and I don't wish to be rude, please understand that. I mean, I know it's very, very important. But if you've got some 25-year-olds in the room, they're not going to relate. So think of your reason, make it powerful, make it truthful, okay? That's really important, make it truthful, and give it, and package it properly. So your testimony is short, sharp, snappy, ideally about 30 seconds, 45 at a push, no more than that. So the meeting continues, and let's pretend that you're 3 rows back because you've got to there a little bit late, and somebody in front of you starts a whispered conversation. Some new distributor who's still in the amateur status, hasn't become a professional yet, and goes like this to their prospect and says, well, he's left some really important stuff out about the cashback card. What he should have said was da-di-da-di-da-di. You have my absolute permission to tap them on the back and say, shh, shut up. And if they continue to keep going, you have my absolute permission to say, shut up, or Clive Leach is going to break your legs. You have my absolute permission to say that. Because that one person who's having this conversation, even though it's a whispered conversation, is disturbing 15 to 20 people that are sitting around them. And it's harming your business. So, needs to be controlled. Dress code, of course, as already mentioned, really smart, casual. You and your group, even if you have only just started building the team, that you should have a culture of being smart, dressed, on point. Don't have to be boot and suited, but you need to be smart, on point, sitting towards the front of the room, certainly in the front third, preferably on the front row if you can, and instill that culture in your business. So, the meeting concludes. Now then, what do you say? The worst possible thing that you can say, and I hear people say it all the time, is, well, what do you think? And very often the response you get is, well, I need to think about it. And it's a really difficult place to go from, isn't it? So we need to avoid that. So this is what you say. Which bit did you like best? And shut up. Zip. Don't speak. Doesn't matter for how long. Might seem an eternity. It won't be. It'll just be a few seconds. And your prospect will say something. Doesn't really matter what they say. But they'll say something. And so, let's say they say, I don't know, something, well, that was really, really interesting, certainly wet my whistle or whatever. So then, this is what I would then say. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is you just, have no interest at all. 10 is, you're ready to get going. Where are we? And shut up. Sit. Don't say anything. And your prospect will come up with a number. Now, if it's 10, yay! Okay, if it's less than 10, we've got some work to do. Okay, if it's a 1, it's, well, look, really appreciate you coming, and we'll take you home and stuff like that. But you've seen the guarantees and all the rest of it. It makes sense for you to trial the services, wouldn't it, and be a customer? And they'll say yes because they don't like saying no more than one time, and it's, in this situation, it's kind of a consolation prize. But anything above a 2 is good, because 1 is like, I'm not interested. Anything above that is, there's a level of interest. So this is what you're saying. Okay. So I see we've still got some homework to do and some stuff to do, but you did tell me that you would be prepared to work 10 hours a week, 5 hours a week, whatever the figure was, and you'd like to get your income up to £1,000 a month, and you'd be quite prepared to work those hours weekly, and you're prepared to do that for 12, 15 months to get to that income goal, didn't you? They're going to say yes. Okay. So, shall we take this to the next step? And they're going to say, what is it? Or say, yes, let's take the next step. And you need to tell them what the next step is. Now, that next step could be a little variable. It could be where you arrange a meeting between you and your prospect and yourself and your upline leader. It could be a 3-way call. It could be a great one would be an invitation to a home meeting. If you've got one going on that you attend. It could be an invitation to a seminar like I did yesterday in Derby, as an example, which was a brilliant session. We had a great day. I spoke in a church, St. Peter's Church in Derby, the first time that I've ever actually spoken in a church, except at a funeral. Anyway, it was a real pleasure to do so. So we've now got them in a process, okay? And I'm going to talk about the process looking at the time, probably in our next session. But I want us to backtrack a bit, and let's pretend that you can't pick them up, okay? That your prospect lives the other side of the town, and it's just geographically impossible for you to do that. Now, when you invite people and you don't pick them up, there's a jolly good chance that they may not turn up. And the reason for this is simple. You know, your prospect has been to work, they've got in, they're tired, they've had their evening meal, and they're feeling, oh, you know, I don't really want to go to this. And that's because they don't understand it. They don't understand the value of the opportunity. They think there's going to be a lot of people there because it's a presentation which they've already picked up. It's in a hotel. There's going to be a lot of people there, and they feel that they won't be missed. So they decide that, oh, I really can't be bothered. So that's why they don't turn up, because they're tired. They're not being rude to you. They're just tired. So how you get over that is in the invitation itself. So in the situation where you cannot pick somebody up, you need to make it important and real. So it's hi. So you know you've done the follow up and all the rest of it, and you're willing to take it to the next stage, and then you're going to say, well, we have this this invitation only presentation on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, and I'd like you to invite you, to come along and be part of be there as my guest. You need to be there at 7:45. Would you be available? Because obviously if they've got something on, then you're going to have to reschedule it. But would you be available? Oh yeah, I could do that. Fine, okay. Well look, once you've got home and you're headed in and all the rest of it, you need to be aware that the dress is smart casual, okay? And you need to, directions to the hotel are da-di-da-di-da-di-da. Oh, and by the way, just think about between now and then, anybody you might know that would like to make more money this year than they did last, just scribble their names down on a piece of paper, bring it with you, it could be to your advantage. And when you get to the hotel, when you walk through the foyer, and then pick out a landmark that you're going to meet them at, okay? There's a really good flower arrangement on the left-hand side as you walk in, okay? I'll meet you there, okay? Please, get there, for about 7:45 or no later than that. Really important that we get there on time because it gets a bit full, and I thought you'd say yes, so I've actually picked out some seats for us. So let's be there on time. Is that okay, Colin? Okay, smashing. Okay, now I'll look forward to seeing you there. Okay, bye for now. And then the morning of the presentation, quick text. Really looking forward to seeing you tonight at 7:45 by the flower arrangement. It just makes it real. It makes it so that they want to be there. Okay. Now, I could rabbit on all evening, but I've found out that there's a football match on. I'm sorry, I didn't realise that when I scheduled this call. I think it's is it England and Brazil tonight? Oh, okay. So I believe there's some sort of special match going to happen, and some of you guys will probably want to clear off and do it. But before you go, I've got a bit of news. Our next broadcast will be next Sunday. That's, I think, whatever 7 days from now is it 20th, something like that, but it's next Sunday, okay? I'll be sending out a link, the usual sort of thing. And I've got a really, really special guest. I have, really. He's going to be live and in person. He's famous. He is the author of Go Pro. None other than Mr. Eric Worre himself will be part of our broadcast next week. So I'm looking forward to it, and I bet you are as well. So the task for you this week is to invite some people to this broadcast next Sunday night, your team members, And the other task is to invite some people to a career opportunity presentation. There's your task for this week. So it's 8 o'clock. My time is up. Enjoy the footy if you're going to do that. I'm not. I hate football. But each to his own. So if you have been, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next Sunday with Eric Worre. Bye for now.